That's why I give you guys a hard time, because I see you in me, you know? Wait, that doesn't sound right. This is a couch of sorts, yes.
Of sorts.
Our host temporarily.
I don't
Michael
think
Dello.
Austin's recording.
Are we recording?
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Are we recording? Are we?
Welcome to the TowerCast podcast, the towering podcast for the towering filmmaker. I am your host for today, Michael Dello, joined by my co-host. Who will it be? It's Desolatory. I'm sorry, Castro.
Director, man. It's all great.
Yo, what's going on? Carlos Desolatory here. Thank you for tuning in to the
We
TowerCast.
also have on the cast. Oh, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so new at this.
I was going to introduce him, but go ahead, Delo. You're good, man.
You're good.
You're on a roll, dog.
It's Flano. We got Flano again, guys.
It happens to all of us.
Okay, we got John Eric Castro, the actor.
Giving you an actor's perspective. How you doing, guys?
Hello. We got Austin Young, looking beautiful, keeping us in tune. I hope.
I try.
Thank you, audio man.
And
we got none other than do I introduce you as Isaac Jason?
J-I-I-J.
Yeah.
All right,
that's my
Isaac.
Full name.
Isaac Jason Kirasawa.
Kurosawa.
Que tranza, Carranza.
Welcome on the podcast. Thank you for
being
joining
on,
us.
man. We're really excited to have you on this
Yeah.
episode.
How are you doing during such crazy times?
I'm good, man. Just laying low, just kind of observing and plotting.
Plotting.
World domination.
Plotting.
You know what
Yeah,
I saw a few, probably a couple months at this point ago, Jason, but I saw you were destroying electronics, I think, outside your house. How was that? Was that just you letting loose and burning up the steam?
I just had a visual.
Growing up, I wanted to be a luchador, so I was just kind of
Makes sense.
like, I was trying to like bring out the ECW
So
in me.
you
so-
practiced with microwaves? Is that what?
Yeah, microwaves and chairs, and yeah. I mean, if you would have seen me, I was in full costume. But
Do you have a tool to like a melee, a bat, a wrench, or just straight?
Straight fists, man. I'm old.
Oh, man.
I'm from
Well,
Southern
nah.
Park.
No, we're happy to have you on. One thing we really talked about is, season 2 of the TowerCast is all about kind of showcasing other filmmakers and people around that we've become friends over the years, and just have seen their work, and it's really impressed us the way that you have stayed in the film community and stayed in the film industry for longer than most, and you're this cat that likes under the radar, but if you've been on somebody's set, they remember you and they want to have you back on their set, and that's true for a lot of filmmakers around El Paso. But I think the big question to ask you is, like, how did your filmmaking journey start?
How much time we got?
Hey,
As long as
much-
you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Since you were a toddler, or what?
Yeah, I was born into the biz. Now, I tell a lot of people. Well, first off, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me on this. I was mentioning earlier, this is my first podcast ever, so it's surreal.
a Tower exclusive, everybody. We have the man, Jason.
Tower exclusive.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Everybody knows you. They're gonna have to come here now to get to know you. It's great.
Yeah, or not know me, because I'm kind of a jerk. But
Oh no, we've had our good moments with Jason. So
We have a lot to bring up and talk about, but yeah, I feel like you started.
Go ahead. Yeah, how did you get started? Like when it comes to film and stuff.
It like
Love.
to start with. I don't consider myself a filmmaker. I know that sounds odd, but
He always says this. But go ahead.
it's just, I think filmmaker, the title, it's something that you earn, and it's something that you build, and you have a few films under your belt. I mean, I have. Will you put the Gatorade down, bro? I have I have student work under my belt and whatnot, but I don't have films under my belt. And I do work in film production, and like I tell a lot of people, it's just because I own a hammer doesn't make me a carpenter. So you have to have the experience, you have to have the tools, you have to have the know-how to build. And I don't think I'm at that point, but I can weld a hammer. So,
I think that's an interesting perspective, man. I think a lot of people follow the Rodriguez. We have a very funny Rodriguez story with Jason, but we'll get into that later. But Rodriguez's mentality that every filmmaker adapts, including myself, is when you're getting started in the film industry, you want to be a filmmaker, stop calling yourself a filmmaker and go film something, and then you're a filmmaker. That's Rodriguez's mentality. But Jason, well, I think it's an interesting perspective, because I love that you hold film in such high regard and filmmakers in such high regard, but he's also underestimating himself. He's kind of undercrediting himself, because Jason has been a part of more films in El Paso, Las Cruces, Albuquerque area than anybody I know.
Everything.
He's in everything.
Every time you look anywhere, like, I mean, I've been following film pages and all that for things like productions going on in El Paso, and every time you're just there. It's crazy. True. I don't know.
He's on the call sheet. He's always on the call sheet. He's always in the crew list and the credits.
Do you sneak in? Is it hard to like get under and kind of like? Is that why you're always
Jason
wearing
knows
black?
How to sneak in. All right, we know this.
I'm just kind of like a hired goon. Like, they just need someone to do the dirty work, and it's me.
Yeah.
You know. But no, man. Like I tell a lot of people, it's not necessarily, and it's like the same old. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I just network and get myself out there. And when I'm on set, I, bring 110%. Like, you can't expect them to call you back if you're just kind of not.
This we know about Jason, but so was it always a thing with you? I know you've always been in, based off conversations we've had, you've always been involved in the arts in one way or another, and in the art community, kind of the bohemian community in El Paso. But what's your, did you go to film school and kind of fell in love with it that way, or what was your kind of introduction to?
Well, I'll just give it to you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a rock star. Come on, Austin. I wanted to be a rock star. I know that sounds, dumb, but
we all had it at one point, dude.
So I did the band thing. I was in a band for a little bit, and I wanted to pursue music, but that didn't work out the way I planned. So I wanted to continue in music. So I started going to school for radio and TV broadcasting. So then I got a gig working at KLEQ. I was the morning intern, and eventually they hired me to be an overnight board operator. Emphasis on the board, because it was the most boring job ever. And I realized it wasn't for me. Like, I was in the studio by myself from midnight to 6 a.m.
Whoa.
And I could have been like the best employee ever, but no one would know because it was just me.
Right.
So I went back to school. I finished DPCC, took all the communication courses. Then I went to UTEP, and I spoke to Carrie. I don't know if she's still there. And at the time, digital media production was new. Like, it was a new program. And she was like, we've got this digital media production. I'm like, oh, well, what is it? She's like, well, you can work in TV, film, music videos. I'm like, oh, music videos. Yeah. Sign me up.
That's interesting.
And then it just kind of snowballed. Like, took all the classes with, the film editing classes with Bobby. And then through the coursework, I met Ramon. And Ramon is like a whole entire chapter by himself.
Yeah. Feel free to talk about that, by the way. I know at some point it would be interesting to have him on the podcast as well. And you two, that's how I met you, through Ramon. And Ramon invited me back to be a director for his class, and then that's how we met. So to definitely talk about that, Ramon, it seems like Ramon was a staple and you continuing your film experience. So,
Oh, definitely. There's bits and pieces that I'm skipping through. But when I first met Ramon, he was obviously my professor, and he would bring in guests to talk to the class. And he brought in Carlos Corral, which is an awesome dude. He brought in, who else did he bring in? I don't remember who else he brought in, but the reason why everything kind of kicked off is he brought in Omar Rodriguez and Terry from the Butcherettes. And they were talking to the class, and everybody was just like, whoa, it's Omar, and at the drive-in. And don't get me wrong, like, I mean, I'm a fan too, but he was there to talk about film.
Right.
So at that time, Diego Davila, we were in class together, and I kind of like look over to him, like, hey, I just kind of nudged him. I'm like, stay after class and just kind of, make small talk with Omar and just see what's up. Like, all right. So we stay after class and we go up to Omar and we're like, you know what? We would really like to help out on one of your projects. You don't have to pay us. We just want to learn. And he's like, all right, I'll let Ramon know. All right, cool. So a few days pass and Diego and I are just, in class waiting for class to start. And Ramon, I'll never forget this. This is like tattooed on my brain. So he comes up and kind of just like nonchalant, like slides a piece of paper on the desk. And he's like, first, before he did that, he's like, are you guys still down? And we're like, yeah, sure. So he slides that piece of paper, like, be there at that time. And then he walks away. And Diego and I are like, what? So
Ramon has a swagger about him, man. He has a swagger about him. Like, here's what I like to say about Ramon, and I don't know if he listens in on the cast or not. Hopefully he does. But Ramon, when it comes to being a student of his, because that's how I was first exposed to him as well. If he knows that you take something seriously, he pays attention to you and he's with you and he tries to take a liking to you. But if he knows that you're just there to earn the credit and you don't give a shit, he totally kind of just puts you on the side. Like, he doesn't really pay attention to what you're doing. And I think that's admirable to a certain degree because for every profession, the teachers want to know that you love what they're teaching and you take it seriously. But he has a swagger about him, man. Like, if he knows that you love it and he knows you want to be involved, he's going to bring you into his world. And he has this little cool, smooth ways of doing it. So I think that's really cool. Before we go any further, though, we mentioned to you ahead of time that we were going to be delivering something to your door, Jason. So we'll take a couple of minutes if you want to go check it out. It's at your door right now.
Well, that's going to be a.
Go for it.
Well, I'm in a undisclosed location, so I'm not even home.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
Oops. Wow.
Yeah.
So much for the surprise.
Crap.
Well, something will be at your door when you get home.
Okay.
And then
Well,
we'll
what's
have a good
left?
laugh
It
about
was an ice sculpture, but
Yeah, we'll-
Yeah, just
Don't worry, I'm cold-hearted, so I'll stay frozen.
oh,
All right. Anyways, continuing on. For those of you listening out there, we have this running joke, and I'll tell the story really quick, and ruin the surprise since Jason won't be able to get it. But we've had meetings with Jason because he's been a part of some of our films, and we'll talk about that. But if you've had a meeting with Tower for the most part before before Zoom, we'd go to Village Inn, and that was kind of our meeting spot, and we'd love going to Village Inn. And our buddy Austin loves to order Mountain Dew when he's at Village Inn. And I swear half of our meetings are Jason riffing on Austin about his Mountain Dew obsession. In fact, we have a group on Facebook targeting where Jason loves to make memes about Mountain Dew and send them to Austin, which is hilarious. It's a hilarious time. So he's not drinking G Fuel right now, Jason, but he is drinking. He's drinking G Fuel. He's not drinking Mountain Dew, unfortunately.
yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But anyways, we delivered some. Austin had some Mountain Dew delivered to your doorstep. So I love the reaction on your face right now, Jason.
I'm actually glad I wasn't home, man.
You actually send them out too?
yeah.
Yeah, sent him Mountain Dew. By the way, Eric Sanchez is on the show. He just joined us. So Jason, there's your buddy Eric on the line as well.
Yo.
Yo.
Tris.
¿Qué huele?
Yeah. ¿Qué huele? ¿Qué rollo?
Aquí jalando.
Animals in the wild talk.
Bunch of cholos.
Anyways, getting back to kind of your story. So
Yeah.
you worked with Via, and that was kind of like your first experience of
Oh, well, you didn't
wanting
finish
to
the
work.
story. He
Yeah,
passed
yeah.
you a
Oh.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah, so he slides a piece of paper, and Diego and I are like, what? And so, class, and we couldn't ask him what's this about because he was obviously teaching the class.
Mhm.
So I think it was that same day. So Diego and I show up to the address, and we ended up at Tricky Falls, and we're like, what? So we're like knocked on the big wooden door. And we're like,
Legendary Tricky Falls, man. It's not around
Right?
anymore.
yeah. sad day.
Mhm.
So like the door creaks open and like, yeah. And we're like, we're supposed to be here at this time. And then they're like, who sent you? We're like, Ramon, Via. And like, all right. So they let us in and we end up walking onto one of Omar Rodriguez's sets.
Oh, snap.
And we're just like, what? It was surreal because like we just showed up, like we didn't know what we were walking onto and what we were gonna do, and it just kind of continued from there. Unfortunately, that project didn't see the light of day, and I've been on other projects with Omar that haven't seen the light of day, except for Amalia, which not only because I was working on that, but it was like one of my favorite projects from him. And it was filmed here in El Paso. It was at the El Paso Film Festival, and and then and from there I just started getting networking and getting phone calls and emails about working on sets, and hey, I heard you worked on this. Do you want to help us out on this? And it just it snowballed.
Right. I think your work ethic really does speak for itself, and it doesn't surprise me that word of mouth, got to be the way that you kept getting more business and more films out there. Is there anything kind of, because we've talked about this before, where you don't really identify with maybe writing or directing, but I think your role in the film industry is something. It's like the unsung heroes of film, like the ADs and the unit production managers and the producers, all of which you've been on one set or another. Are super important, man, because without you guys, we can't do our job. Writers, directors are losing their shit, literally. And can you talk a little bit about those roles that you've played on films? I know you've been a PA, kind of as you were rising up, but eventually everybody's calling you to be their AD or their unit production manager, and that's a big deal. That's a big gig, and it's a lot of stress. Can you talk a little bit about those roles that you've been?
Yeah, and like once again, I think my first AD gig was with Ramon. It was on a project called Juanado. And I was what was I doing on that originally? I think I was just like props. And then he asked me, he's like, hey, do you know anyone that can AD? And then I was like, I can try. And he's like, all right, here. So he just gives me like all these tasks. I need you to schedule. I need you to call actors. I need you to find props. I still had to do what I had to do originally, plus everything else. And I need you to, scout locations and this and that. And I was just like, whoa, okay. And it was just like, I accomplished everything that he wanted me to do. And then so he would give me more tasks and more tasks. Then he'd throw a few curveballs. I have a really funny story about that. And so from then on, all of the projects that I work with Ramon, I'm the assistant director, field producer. Like we're working on Disrupted Borders, which is a documentary that we recently, it's still in post-production. That in itself is another story. I'll touch on that. But then from there, Tower Boys called me, Jonathan Gonzalez, Anthony Salgado, who else? A couple other people that I can't remember, not because
one thing we were talking about before we started rolling, I think before you hopped on, was that I personally want to tell the story of how I met Jason and kind of how it came about. And Jason has this endearing name for Tower Productions, which is the Tower Boys with a Z.
Tower Power.
It's the Tower Boys. But anyways, we got our 2-day challenge and we won first place. And Ramon had been a professor of mine, and Ramon and I, at first didn't always see eye to eye, but like I said, once he started seeing that I do care about this craft and do care about cinema, he started defending me more in class, which is the craziest thing. When Ramon defends you, it's like a stamp of approval. In class, anyways, when you're a student. But anyways, out of kind of a few days after the 2-day challenge when we won, I got a message from Ramon saying congratulations and hey man, that's awesome. And then saying, hey man, I got my summer class coming up. I need a guest director for one of the shoots. More than that, he was like, it's a paid gig. Can you come help out? And this was my first official paid gig as a director for narrative stuff. I mean, we didn't get him paid for commercials and other stuff before, but So it felt like, whoa, what the hell? One day's work, whatever, right? So he tells me all the details, and I'm like, shit, dude, I don't care. I'll do it for free. Like, I'm excited to come back and teach, people who are in the film program at UTEP. So that was really exciting for me. And I remember that same day I was leaving to Dallas after the shoot. So we shot all day, and then I took off to Dallas that night. And I get to Ramon says, hey man, I'm gonna put you in touch with Jason. He's my AD, he's my UPM. If you have any questions, get in touch with him. Like, all right, cool. So we're texting back and forth. I had never met Jason before. He tells me, hey man, meet me at the parking lot. Dude, it was like I told my tower guys, like, I told, if you guys aren't careful, you're gonna lose me, because VS sets are professional as hell, man. And part of that is attributed to Jason. Because you get your own parking permit to be a legit teacher at UTEP. You get a parking permit, you get to park at this parking lot, and then that's where I met Jason. He's got this cooler that he's dragging to set, and I'm like, yo man, I'll help you out. So over here walking to set, and he's just talking to me, and he right away came across as the guy who knows what's going on. Like, he knows everything about the set. He knows who's going to be there that day, from what time to what time. From what time to what time you're gonna be there. Hey man, we have waters here, we have the monitor here. He knows everything about any set he's a part of. So he came across as that, like, typical, like, assistant director, I know my shit, you better listen to me or you're gonna get lost type of deal.
Whoa.
That's how Jason's like really comes across, man. And
Nice.
We get to set, or we get to the classroom, because Ramon was going to introduce all the guests. So the guests that day was myself as director and Limon Genaro as the DP. It's a very talented director as well, Limon. And so, he introduces us, and we're over here like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we're not special, man. We're just a couple of filmmaking kids from the block. And he's like, Ramon, when you're a guest in his class, will make you feel like you're the boss, man.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he treats you like all of his students, mind you, there's like 30 film students in this class, and he'll straight up say, this is your boss for the day. Like, if you don't listen to him, you're gonna get fired from set. Like, if you don't do what he says, like, you're off the set. Like, you got to know what you're doing and shit. Poor girl, man. There's a girl there, and she was obviously a novice to filmmaking, and she was like, she was my script supervisor. That's the position that Ramon gave her, and she was like, yeah, I've never done this before, so how do I do? And Ramon like takes her like, hey, listen to him, he knows what he's doing, like pointing at me. Listen to him, he knows what he's doing. He's done many films before. He's not new at this. Listen to him, he'll tell you what to do. You're good. And she's like over here shaking with the fucking scripts, and I was like, yeah, you're good at that. Like, I've done this before. I'm good with script supervisors. We're good. And Jason is running the set the entire time. Okay, so we get to set. And sure enough, all the students are doing their job. This was also the first time I met Delao, by the way. Fun fact. As Mr. Jason likes to call him, the UTEP kid.
I just show up.
Yeah.
Ever seen a lost puppy?
Dude, I mean, we get the set, and the set's running smoothly. And when a set's running smoothly, all of that credit goes to an assistant director. I promise you. The assistant director is the one making sure that the set is running smoothly.
Now, I don't see Jason as yelling, so how did he get everybody's attention? Or?
No, he's not. He's to the point. I mean, it's like, if there something needs to get done, he'll just go up and say something needs to get done. It's not.
Right.
But I mean,
he won't look at you in the eyes and be like,
I think, Jason, you call yourself like the bad guy on set, because people might be talking, they might be doing something, but it's understanding what jobs need to be accomplished, understanding the time frame to do it in, understanding the roles. I mean,
I just see that as hard for Nuvis, because it was all students. So how didn't you?
Well, here's the crazy part. You're absolutely right, Castro. It's not about yelling. It's not about being an asshole. It's about making sure the job gets done, like that I was talking about. And Jason knows how to do that at its most professional, like, underscore, like. A director's not supposed to be listening to an AD yelling at people. He's supposed to be doing his job. Yeah. So when you can focus and the shit's still getting done, it's impressive, bro. It's impressive. I went to set, whatever the next tower set was after that, or meeting, whatever we had, and I told them, like, hey man, we need to get this dude Jason on our sets. Like, this guy's an AD. This guy knows what he's doing. We got to get him on our sets.
Yeah, I remember you talking about him.
That was the first impression for sure. And same with Delao. Delao kind of came up to me after that shoot and was like, hey man, I heard about Tower, want to get involved and all that. So But I never heard of Jason's reputation. I never heard of what he's done until I started talking to him. But I saw his work ethic, and that was my first impression of Jason. Was like, he knows what he's doing. He's a chill dude, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. We did a shoot with Raul. Shout out to Raul. We're gonna have him on the podcast pretty soon. And it was a music video, a country music video that's still not out, so I can't really talk about it much. But Jason was there. We just randomly bumped into Jason there. He was there.
I remember that. I remember that.
And we bump into him, and I think that's what's cool about Jason is he on sets he's in high regard and he's an AD. On this particular set, he was a PA and he was still running shit.
Yeah, I remember.
He was still running shit and he was a PA. You know, he was getting Raul's guys like Dan and Colombia and like all the tower guys. Like, he already knew all these guys. Said, hey, well, let's, we gotta work, guys. Let's get to work. Let's move that 8x to the other side of the set. Let's move the cameras over there. Let's move the lights. He was running shit and he was a PA. So,
and he wasn't yelling too. That's true.
He wasn't yelling. He was not yelling.
It's because I'm used to some people that are yelling like, damn.
I mean,
bro.
like I think, Jason, what you kind of like highlight, at least to me, like what an assistant director can do or should do is the few times I've seen you in that role, it's this process of knowing everybody's role, knowing what everybody needs to be doing or can accomplish, and then just making sure that you're organizing them in that like region. And I think in filmmaking, there's a lot of people starting out where I've seen a few productions that, there's nobody doing that assistant director role of just kind of organizing everybody and making sure that people are going into that right spot. And then you see where people step on each other's toes. You see where there's actors waiting. We've all kind of gone through a production that, doesn't have somebody who organizes that. And it's like, and I mean, Jason, sitting down with him when we were working with Jonathan on his production, can go through table readings, can go through scripts, can go through the creative process. But then once we're on set, he makes sure things are done. And I mean,
here's the impressive part about that too. And I want to ask you, Jason, because one thing I thought we were talking about before we jumped on, before we started rolling, was that when you're a writer director and somebody asks you to do something for free, your ego kind of jumps a little bit, and it's like, well, it's free, but I'm writing, directing, like, it's something I love to do anyways. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. It's kind of I think sometimes it's sacrilegious and a little egotistic, but when it's a below the line job, like an assistant director, there's no ego because you're not going to get the credit that a director gets, so to speak. And I think what's impressive is that Jason, how many years would you say you've been in the industry, Jason? How many years have you been doing film, more or less?
I would say 2012.
So 18 years. Oh no, 2012. Sorry, not 2002. 8 years.
He's a director. He's not a manager.
I'm a director. I heard 2002. Sorry, 2012. So 8 years. In these 8 years, what I think is impressive is Jason actually does this for a living. And it's important to know, like, this is his living. He makes money. This is how he pays his bills, is by being a freelance, AD or PA or whatever it is.
How do you do it?
And when did you feel like you could actually jump in and be a full-time freelancer? Like, was there just enough calls coming in that you thought, if I leave the day job, like, I'll be fine? Or was it kind of like, just jump in and see what happens?
That's a good question.
So, I was working, I've also, like I mentioned, I've worked in radio. I've worked in news. I was working, my last real job, I guess you could say, I was working at KFOX 14 and CBS 4. I was there for 4 years. So,
4 years.
During that time, I would still get gigs and I was still working and I would still do gigs.
Of course.
And then just, before I go on, having a really strong circle, like not just like creative wise, but support, like a support system, like that really helps a lot.
Of course.
And people would tell me, like a good friend of mine, her name is Geraldine, she tells me, you know what, like, why don't you just go for it? And I was like, well, I'm gonna leave this cush job. Like, I was working at KFOX, making all right money. I was off weekends, the glitz and glam of news, but at the same time, I didn't go to school for news. I didn't want to be working in the news.
Right.
And it reminds me, Carlos Corral once told me, when I first met him, he's like, so what do you do? I was like, oh, I work at the news, blah, blah, blah. And then he tells me, oh, the news. where filmmakers go to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And that kind of pushed me a little more away from music.
It's true. We've talked about it on this podcast, and unfortunately, the film program, the digital media program at UTAB, is geared to make you go into. I mean, rightfully so. Yeah. It's geared to get you a job in El Paso, but it's geared literally to make you go into news or radio. And us filmmakers, like, we love making films and we want to work in that industry. And what I was gonna say was that what's super impressive about Jason is that he loves indie filmmakers and he loves filmmakers all around, to where if you don't have a budget, and I'm not promoting this, by the way, Jason, I hope you get paid, and I hope everybody who works with you does pay you, but it's also endearing that, you know, when a filmmaker doesn't have a budget or they're just shooting a passion project and they don't have money, that you're like, man, I love being on set. I love working with filmmakers. Like, I'll do it if I have the time and I'm not doing a paid gig. I'll do it. I'll happily do it. And that's the difference between some, because we've all encountered the people that are like, if I don't have a paycheck, bro, don't include me. Don't even call me. And Jason's definitely not that guy.
Why did you look at my screen, eh?
He loves the craft too much, but you know, also when we have the money, we love to take care of Jason because he does his job and everybody, rightfully so. But I think it's impressive. Can you comment on that, Jason? Like, why is that important to you to not just pay attention to the dollar signs and pay attention to the craft and the love of filmmaking?
I think what it is that, like, I always tell people that I don't work for free unless I know you or I owe you.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
And yeah, so like, if I met you, automatically you're my friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyone I know is my friend, even if like we don't get along. You're my friend. But you know, I told, like, Michael can vouch for this too. Like, when we were working with Jonathan, he told me, you know what, it's a student project. I can't pay you, but I really need your help. And I said, you know what? As long as you feed your crew, feed your cast, make sure they're taken care of, I'm down. And it's like, okay, cool. And then I'm like, and no Mountain Dew and no Little Caesars.
You didn't say no Dr. Pepper, so he found the loophole.
Oh, dude.
You hate Dr. Pepper too?
No. If like you are to Mountain Dew, Jonathan is to Dr. Pepper, and every time we'd go on set, like, there'd be tons of Dr. Pepper and like a water, and then, you know, it's like.
Has everybody here seen Wayne's World 2?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a character in there who's like a tour manager that has stories about working with Bob Dylan and working with the Beatles and working with fucking everybody, right? That's who Jason is. Anytime we get together, not only does Jason tell us, like, oh yeah, man, I've worked with these guys and they're cool and they're the shit, but he'll also tell us the horror stories of, like, dude, working with this crew was a nightmare, working with this guy just wasn't good. And so I think it's important to touch on that, Jason. Like, what have been your great experiences? You don't have to name names, okay? But you've named names. We'll keep it hush. We'll keep it hush. But you know what's been your experiences, like your great experiences, if you want to name them, and bad experiences. What you've been a fly on the wall for every single set and every single like production company and director and writer here in El Paso. What's been your experiences, man? Like, can you talk about some of your best ones?
Was there that production where you walked on set and after like a day you're like, wow, I felt like I made it, like I'm there, or are you hoping for that? Is that still coming?
Or some horror stories too, dude. Some horror stories.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, like, I was thinking to myself before, is that I don't really like to gloat. I celebrate silently, if that makes sense.
Sure.
That's cool.
Because I just feel that at any moment, like, it could just be all taken away.
Yeah.
And so I just try to just be humble and
cherish every moment.
And as far as like experiences, I've had nightmares and I've had amazing times on set. One nightmare.
I want to hear that.
Please. Our listeners want to know. Our listeners want to know.
And I mean this in like, you know, as a film production aspect, not necessarily the events that were going around it, but just the film
not a personal
production
thing, but a professional thing. Yeah.
Right. So I was helping Showtime with a show called The Circus. I don't know if you've seen it. I've never seen it. I haven't even seen what I worked on. Yeah. And that happens a lot. So it was the Trump rally, and we all know that being a part of media and news is not. It's very frowned upon in that world.
Right.
And so, so I was a PA on that gig. I think Carlos Corral was also on that gig. I think I there's so many I get. Yeah, he was there. So he was with a team covering Beto's rally because Beto's rally was right across the street. I was with one crew and we were inside the Coliseum with the Trump rally. So, I'm doing my job. Like, I'm carrying equipment and stuff. So I'm carrying a tripod, like this big, heavy tripod. And we have to walk through the crowd, which was kind of scary. So I'm walking and I mean this, it just really did happen. Like, someone like this close to my face, they're like, fake news, fake media, F you. And I'm like, just don't touch me. Like, once you touch me, you're going to get a face full of tripod. Just So,
Damn.
and that was just the beginning. So we finally get to the Coliseum, and they searched us like 3 times. We had to empty all our pockets out, and then we finally put all the stuff back in our pockets, and they got a weird feeling. Then you have to unload everything, like take all the gear out of their bags, take everything out of your pockets. Yeah, and then like the metal detectors.
Secret Service for you.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah. So finally, we get inside. He has his podium. We're like on this like platform, like all the different media.
The cameras, yeah.
Yeah, so the whole time is like, these guys and the media and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, fuck yeah, and whatever. And we're surrounded. And not even like 5 seconds later, this dude rushes the stage, like the media stage, and starts knocking over cameras.
Oh shit!
And I'm like, oh shit! Like he was like maybe like 2 feet, 3 feet away from me, and then they didn't like tackle him. They're just like, oh no, don't do that.
What? Like that's not nice.
Yeah. So one of the cameras that got knocked over was BBC. So it's kind of a big deal to think that I was there, and I was
That definitely was a crazy night. I was a few blocks over at the Bethel rally, and just the streets of El Paso were crazy that night. It was just a crazy night all around, having Trump here in Bethel and them going at it and this whole thing. Definitely a crazy night. So what might have been a good experience that you've had on set that you could tell us about?
Good experience. Anything other than that. But no, sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a big production. It's just you're on a set with so many cool people and so many like amazing people in the industry. Like you mentioned when we were with Raul. Like Raul's such a cool guy, and I love working with him.
Being on set with Raul is good.
Yeah, to have you guys on set, it was just like a big party.
Yeah.
I was having those are the moments that I like where it's not necessarily. It's like an amazing project to be a part of, but it's just who you're with. And,
for sure.
And that's
while we're on the subject, Jason, what was this is after all, Tower Productions podcast, and what was it working like? You've been on a couple of our sets, and you've been in creative meetings for future projects where we knew right away we have a very big project coming up that I can't talk about just yet, but. We have this big project coming up once all this COVID business is done. And right away, we were like, Jason has to be the AD for this. He has to be our UPM. And I think we even ended up ended up bumping him up to like co-produce with Austin, or like be an associate producer with Austin, kind of overlooking him, because we promoted him. It just ended up that he showed that initiative and came to be that. But what has your experience been like working with Tower Productions and everybody in the team?
Don't sugarcoat it.
It's all been horrible. No, just kidding.
I was hoping you'd say that.
No. Actually, I was thinking about this beforehand as well. The thing that I like about Tower Productions, and I've come to realize this now, is that all your team, all of you, don't have egos, and you're more than willing. Except that jerk.
Yeah,
you're more than willing to bring people in that are up and comers, that they want to learn, they want to work, and you don't like no. You're a student. We don't want you.
Mm.
And that's what I like about Tower. Like, you're just a bunch of normal dudes that want to like create, and that's what I like about Tower Productions. And it's like one big like group of friends, and we joke around, and when it's time to come down to business, like we do our job and we do it to the best of our abilities. And that's what I like about Tower. The only thing that I would probably take out is Austin, but that's different.
Awesome. Mountain Dew fixation.
It's
but other than that, like it's like a family, you know, like we all joke about it, you know, we all like make fun of each other and joke around and but at the end of the day, like we're just like a whole bunch of friends that just hang out and
I think we definitely appreciate you saying that, Jason, and we have a ton of cool stories when it comes to Jason and being on set and stuff like that.
Can I ask about the time you snuck in to meet Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah, I would definitely want to talk about that.
That's a good move, man. My actress is up there. Can I go up there?
That's
what you told me.
Yeah. So you know, Robert Rodriguez was in town with the Paso Film Festival, like we on, you know, just to kind of like catch everyone up. And so since Omar's film Amalia was gonna be it was shown at the festival, the actress was in town, Denise, and so like she went up to talk to Robert. There was like a little party going on upstairs, and these guys were like, "Man, look, if we could all
try to paint the setting. Let's paint the setting." So the El Paso Film Festival, this was the night of Robert Rodriguez's masterclass. It was the night that kicked off the film festival. Mm-hmm. If you were lucky enough to be there, you were lucky enough to see his awesome thing that we did with Robert Rodriguez and how he kind of came to talk to El Pasoans. And then if you had your kind of full access pass for the festival, you got invited to an after party with Rodriguez, an exclusive after party at the Rara Group. Beautiful building. And we have this party going on, and Robert literally comes, you know, upstairs is kind of like his green room, the VIP area. And oddly enough, nobody was guarding the stairs, which we'll get to when we go to your experience, Jason. But he comes down, and his both of his sons were also filmmakers. Were circling the party, and I got to talk to both of them, both very nice people, and we exchanged information and stuff. They were cool, man. And then Robert, everybody's just waiting for Robert to come down. So there's this flamenco dance group that start dance. There's music going on, and they start dancing in the middle. And that's when Robert comes down, and he's just checking out the show, and he thanks everybody for coming. And then he goes up, and that's where everybody rushed him, man, right before he was going to go back upstairs. And I got to talk to him for a little bit and take a picture with him. And it was just me, and I think Carlos Corral was the one ushering him. Like, Carlos Corral was being a security guard pretty much. Yeah, and so he goes back upstairs, and we don't really see him for the rest of the night. We got him for like 20 minutes at that after party. Then he bounced. And you could tell the entire time he was kind of like, shit, man, there's a lot of people here. Like, I know everybody's going to come up to me. Like, you could see this on Rodriguez's face. So he goes upstairs, and it's kind of the end of the night. Everybody starts leaving. I remember the Tower guys we were networking with other people. We were talking to like Robert Olguin.
I was trying to go upstairs, man. I don't know about you.
Everybody was kind of networking, and then we kind of go outside. And Jason's one of the last people there too. And we're outside, and Austin and Eric and both Erics were outside just kind of hanging out and talking. And I think we were all hoping that he was going to come out through the back door. Like, we were all kind of just hanging out by the side of the building. We were hoping he was going to come out. And then we see Jason come out, and then he's like, yo, man.
Didn't he text you? Did he text you a picture or something?
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's where we're like, he got in.
I was texting with Jason, and he's like, yo, I got in. I'm upstairs with Robert. We were like waiting. I think we ended up just waiting for Jason. We're like, let's just wait for him to come and tell us his story. So what happened, Jason? We're up to this moment. Like, what happened there? How'd you get up there? What happened?
So, we were all waiting at the bottom of the stairs, and
we're all thinking about it.
Like, the thing about me is, like, sometimes I just do things.
You took the plunge, and we're like, damn, who goes? And you went.
I just went. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, like, talk my way in. And so I'm going up the stairs, and then I run into one of the sons. I forget which one.
I think it was Rocket. It might have been Rocket. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But he's like, whoa, where are you going? And I was like, no, it's cool, man. My actress is upstairs.
So smart. So freaking smart.
And he's like, oh, okay. And he opens the door for me. And I just walk in. And I'm like, what's up? Hey, Denise. And then that was it. Like, I was just chilling there. And then, like, they had a bar up there. And they were playing pool. And I was just like, yeah, let me just take a picture. And, yeah, that's pretty much like.
And he's texting me the entire time. He's up there. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm
rubbing it in.
Yeah, almost like. And I think I try to get away with it too. And I was like, yo, man, like, can we go up there? Is it kind of crowded? He's like, dude. He's like, I'm pretty sure they're about to kick us out. I'm pretty sure like we just took a quick picture and they're about to tell us to get out, type of shit.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
But he does have a picture. He does have a picture with Rodriguez upstairs.
Jealous.
Little
jealous
room.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was just, you know, I mean, like, to me, I'm like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna say no, and that's it. Like, but you never know. You have that slight chance that you can.
One thing I do want to mention about Jason, it happened at this festival, and it's happened in a bunch of other places since then. Jason's the type of guy. I think it goes hand in hand with, like, if I know you, I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna help you. Anytime we're with somebody that he feels needs to connect, he's the dude to introduce a lot of people. And I remember he introduced us to the actress, and I think some other people that worked with him on Amelia. He's just people that love working in the industry and are from LA or are from, you know, other places. And I remember we were at a film. It might have been the same film festival. And he introduced us to, like, this talent manager who manages a lot of horror, like, actresses, actors, directors. Like, he's this big time manager. If you look up his website, you could see all the, like, really, really talented people that work under him. And he was like, hey, man, I want to introduce you to Tower Productions. This is Carlos, this is Austin, this is Eric. You know, like, he introduces us to, like, a bunch of people that we didn't even know about, man. And I think that's what's cool about Jason is, like, if he cares and he knows that you care, he's not going to just introduce anybody. Like, he's going to make sure that you've done something of quality. He's going to make sure that you actually care about the craft. And then he'll introduce you to the, you know, being in the industry for this long and traveling to different places to work. It gets you a Rolodex, man. It gets you connections with people. And Jason isn't afraid to share those connections as long as he knows you're serious, which is really, really, really cool, man. I really definitely admire that about Jason. But a bunch of crazy stories, man. A bunch of crazy stories with Jason on set, man. It's insane.
I mean,
yeah,
Jason,
we would need, like, all these podcasts. Just
yeah,
we need your own show. Jason, is there, like, I mean, you've done the assistant directing, and I mean, your work ethic has, like, really shown for itself as far as, like, connecting with other people. But do you feel like there's something you're still trying to, like, lean towards, or you'd want to pursue, like, direct your first film or get behind the camera? Or is there something that you feel like it's that thing that you'd want to do just to have kind of in your experiences as a filmmaker?
Besides being a rock star.
Besides being a rock star.
I guess I'm a film production rock star, I guess. But
you definitely are.
Totally, no, I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a dude that's trying not to live on the street.
Nice.
That's one way to put it.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But as far as what you were asking, like, I would at least want to have one feature film under my belt, and that's it. Like, one and done. And if it,
that's what you think, man. Once you get that first one, you're gonna want to do another one.
Like, if it does well, yeah, I'll consider doing.
Well, he's got one coming up with Tower Productions, but that's all I can say. That's all.
Watch out. But yeah, like maybe because what I've realized is my writing, the little writing that I've done in the past, it takes me years to write a script.
Everybody's different, yeah.
It took me 3 years to write a script.
Because I remember seeing you when we were talking with Jonathan, and we're, like, you know, doing a table reading, and we're going over his script. I mean, you know, he was asking us a lot for, like, you know, kind of like things that he could add, elements and all that kind of stuff. And it was when you're in that phase of fine-tuning the script, and it was really interesting to see kind of like the AD aspect go away, and you coming up with all these ideas and just like, well, yeah, but it has to make sense for this, and talking about the character's motivation. I'm like, you sound like you're about to write something. It sounds like you're right on the cusp of, you know, writing,
it's
you know,
interesting
like
to
a
see-
rom-com.
to see
That up your alley, you know. The meat
rom-com.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's interesting to see Jason with the creative side, because you're absolutely right, Dela. We're used to seeing him on the logical front. That's where his brain specializes. Like I always say, like Austin is really the key guy when it comes to Tower about logistics and what we need to do in terms of logistics. And then when we've seen him and Jason come together, like especially about this new project that we're talking about, and when their brains go to like logistics, man, like we're like, oh shit, we didn't even think of any of that. Like these two guys are really like on that. Yeah. But when you see Jason offering like a creative standpoint, it's like, oh shit, that's right. You do know this world.
He's like a Swiss Army knife of El Paso filmmaking.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Like I said, Michael can vouch for me on this. Like, I gave Jonathan the hardest time. Like, there were moments where I'm like, I was like, you know what? That might have been a little much, Jason. But
hey, sometimes they gotta learn the hard way, man.
Exactly. I believe in tough love.
Me too.
I'm sure he's grateful.
I'm with you, dude. I'm
sure
with you. If you don't call it out, they won't know.
Yeah.
On a side note,
I'm actually kind of grateful because, like I said, my first experience of seeing Jason was him really, really drilling people to do their job. And when he was on a Tower set, I'm not trying to gloat. I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal. But when he was on a Tower set, he was really chill. Like everybody already knows to do their job, you know. So like when he was on a Tower set, he was kind of just like hanging out, like, all right, yeah, everybody's good.
yeah. I met him. I was chill.
Which I thought was really impressive. I was that was like a stamp of approval for me. Like, we're actually doing our job.
I mean, on a personal experience, it was so weird because I mean, I went from like a week ago dealing with Jason as being the professor's assistant, and then I joined you guys, and he was just the guy next to you, and it's weird. I don't know how to describe this transition, but like I was surprised that you guys met up at the same time because I just felt like it really felt like when you jumped into set, it was just like hitting that group, and I mean everything. I mean,
we hit it off. Yeah. I think that's why I say it's a collectively on Via's set. Jason's like managerial skills and Via's like
Via skills.
Well, yeah, like Via skills, yeah. Like him just like making sure that everybody is there to help you as a director. And I'm sure Limon, because even Limon as a DP had his own little 2-3 man team. And I think you were pulling focus for Limon, right? Yeah. So you were part of that little 2-3 man team. I just remember like Jason would come up to me and be like, hey man, you good? Like, you know, do you have what you need? And then I had a PA. I had my own personal PA, dude. Like with a cage. I never had that before. Like with a cage with holding online. Him and Via would come together and be like, poor girl, man. She was so nice. But I guess they already kind of instilled this, like Jason and Via instilled this in their students, right? And I say there because I have seen Jason teach. Like he's there teaching all the people that need to learn, right? So like poor girl, man, like she was there, like Via told her, like, hey, you do not leave Carlos aside. This cage, anytime he yells cut, you take the cage, you take the monitor from his hand, let him do his thing. When it's time to roll again, you give him the monitor every time. There. And this girl was like, okay. and like Jason was like making sure like that my monitor was working, that my headphones were working. Like, hey man, are you sure you good? Do you need a water? Do we need to send somebody to get something? Like he was there 110% of the time. And we had that rapport. Like I remember before Via introduced us to the class, we were in the hallway, him, Limon, and me, just shooting the shit, just talking and like getting to know each other. And like you said, Delao, like it was just natural, man. Like we just got along and we were part of the same world, and we all just knew how to joke around and have fun. And at the same time, like once we're thrusted into the gig, the job, I felt I was really nervous. I don't know if I've talked about this on the TowerCast before, but I was really nervous.
Why?
Because I had never been on a set that wasn't Towers necessarily.
And it was a big set. It was a good.
I had a shorthand.
A big set too.
I have a shorthand with Tower. I have a shorthand with my guys. We all know each other and we know each other's sensibilities. I mean, I may have been part of like, you know, Jonathan set at one point or TriCast sets, but never like the director of this whole set. So when I came to Via's, I even told Austin and Eric, I was like, damn, dude, like I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if I'm going to get along with the crew. I don't know if they're going to think I'm an asshole or whatever, you know? So Jason, in my personal opinion, made it easy for me because I got to set and it was natural, man. Like, it was, to me, it was like a fish in water. Like, I just got to set and I knew what to do, and I love doing this. And I think everybody was like, oh shit, like he's not new at this. He knows what he's doing, which made me feel a lot more comfortable. Like, all right, I got the reins. Everybody trusts me. I can't like emphasize how important trust is for a director. And Jason, as my AD, knew to trust me, man. Like, Jason, you're like, this kid probably knows what he's doing. Like, we'll give him a shot, you know? And he trusted that all he need when an AD trusts a director, the AD makes sure that the director is good and is handling all the business for him. But if an AD doesn't trust a director, why would he put any of his own energy trying to give the director what he wants? Right. You know, so that trust for me was super important, man. I was so nervous, and when I got to set, it was like, it was good, man. Like, I was having a good time, and I credit that to Jason for sure.
I mean, yeah, that's very flattering, because, like, when I'm on set,
I don't know what your first impression was, by the way, Jason. Like, the Lao thought you and I knew each other before this, but we really didn't.
No. And I think that's, like, coming from the same world, like, we just click, you know, you're all on the same wavelength, you know what I mean?
You have to have an attitude, you know? You gotta
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so, you know, when I'm an AD on projects, what I usually do is I worry about everything behind the camera so that the director can worry about what's in front of the camera.
Perfect thing to do.
That's pretty much my job. And, like, on that set, it's funny because I've helped with Ramon's class, like, a few years now. I don't know how many. But as soon as I walk in, I'm like,
Yep.
The stone.
You're sizing everybody down almost. Like, you're sizing everybody up.
He's the guy who looks like he has a gun in the room, even though he doesn't. Yeah,
Give that guy a Snickers, man, just in case.
No, but I do think you're sizing everybody up. Like, all right, who's gonna take this seriously, and who
drinks the Mountain Dew here?
Who's the Mountain
Dew? For that particular set? What was your impression, I guess, or what was your?
You know, like I mentioned, like you mentioned too, like, there's so much going on in my mind that I even catch myself, like, even though I'm the AD, I'm still, like, picking up trash, or I'm tidying, like, the C-stand, or I'm, like, because, like, I feel that when you're on set, like, maybe not necessarily a Hollywood set, but a local set or independent set,
any set,
you're not just the AD, like, you're a part of the team. So if you see, like, someone struggling to, like, put up a flag, like, just go help them. Like, I mean, obviously that doesn't, like, apply to, like, Hollywood, you know, unions and whatnot. But
right.
I mean, if I see something that I can help on a indie set, I'm gonna do it. Like, we're all on the same team.
way, dude.
No, yeah.
Like, it's like, just because you're the director doesn't mean you can't, like,
pick up something.
Yeah, pick up trash, or
you're absolutely right.
Help with something, you know.
You've jumped into so many, like, random roles, as far as like on the tower set we needed an extra for You're in Trouble. And
beautiful performance, by the way. Beautiful performance.
Man.
And then also with Jonathan's set, we needed a local goon. And Jason was more than happy to jump in.
Do you like acting, man? Is acting in your horizon or not?
You know, I've acted before, and I used to be in, like, theater arts in high school, but I'm not opposed to it. Like, I'll act if I have to, but it's not something that I tried to pursue full time. Not. I mean, I just think, like,
you're pretty good, man. You're pretty good.
Thank you.
I think Jason's like, very adaptable. I think he's learned to be adaptable, and I think what's cool about Jason is not only is he adaptable in a professional setting, but I identify a lot with this. Jason, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I identify with Jason a lot because in a professional setting, of course, he'll adapt. If he needs to be a PA, he's learned that, and we've tried to instill that in our crew a lot, and in various crews that we've been a part of them. Some people get it, and some people are like, nah, man, I'm not going to be a PA. I've directed my own movie. I'm not going to be a PA. Like, and they don't get it. They don't get that when you're on set, and you're a part of a team. Right. I identify with Jason because in a professional setting, he's adaptable and he does that. But on a personal setting, he tries to relate to you and whatever you're into. So like me and
That makes
Jason,
sense.
like we'll joke around about, you know, certain films we've seen, or, you know, certain, like, just talk about cinema in general and the directors we've known and dealt with. And then he'll joke around with Austin about, you know, whatever, Mountain Dew or whatever it is. And then like him and Eric Sanchez will have the longest conversations about music because they're both into the same type of music, you know. And he'll go around, and he's a buddy on set too, man. Like if we're downtime, he'll go and start a conversation with you and shoot the shit. And when you can do that, man, when you can master that, where you're a presence on set where people want to be around you, you're going to be invited to every set, bro. And I think that's part of why Jason is invited to every set. So
True.
you know, but
Yeah, it's, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, it's egos. Like you don't want to be a part of something that everyone's like, well, I'm the best guy in El Paso and I'm this, and like, okay, cool, man. Like outside of El Paso, like what are you?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's kind of like, you know, like it's kind of like, you know, like a popularity contest. Like I don't care about popularity. I care more about friendship, you know?
yeah,
So.
for sure.
Yeah, I think
Good way to put it, man.
one of the biggest reasons, at least, the hell? One of the biggest reasons I wanted to invite you on the podcast is because, along with just your background in assistant directing, I mean, you really exemplify how attitude is more than half the battle when it comes to trying to get into filmmaking and trying to be a part of a good team. Because if you don't have that attitude, there's people who, you know, they might, you know, love the camera, they love writing scripts, and they go out there and they think, I'm going to go and I'm going to be this big time director, and they finally get that opportunity to have a team, and they don't have that attitude that you know, needs to be there on set. You know, nobody wants to work with them again, nobody's having fun, you're doing it and it feels like a drag, and you're wondering why. And I mean,
For our listeners and our viewers, if you haven't been paying attention for the past hour and it's totally flown over your head, notice that this podcast has not really been about the technical features. Like Jason could talk all day about how to contact people, how to finish forms for locations, how to, like, all the clerical
Logistics.
stuff, logistics for running a set. But he's talking about attitude. He's talking about attitude on set. And if that doesn't show you something, then pay attention to what he's talking about. It's all about attitude on set. You know, so I think that's really, really massive, Jason. I think it's really important, man. So that's a big deal.
well,
Yeah, it's you know, it's obviously when you're on set, you're there to do a job, and you know, it's like working anywhere. Like if you're working with people that are jerks or assholes, like you're gonna hate your life. You're gonna hate your job. You're not gonna want to be there. You're not gonna want to try. You're just there for a paycheck and get out. And that's why it's like you said, it's about attitude. If you go in there and, like, even if you don't know what you're doing, and I've told a lot of people this, like, all you need to do, like, if you're a PA on set, learn how to wrap cables, know your way around a C-stand, and at least know what stuff is called. And if you don't know, like, just have an open hand, like, just be ready to do something.
But
Like,
I've
don't
learned. Sorry, my bad. But I've also learned from Mike. I've also learned from Michael that there's a certain way that you should wrap wires, isn't there?
Yeah, under, over.
Yeah, you gotta know.
You gotta know that.
Yeah, and believe me, I've gotten yelled at for that. And
Exactly, me too.
Yeah, like I believe me, like I've had I've been yelled at, I've been cussed at, I've been belittled on different sets. Yeah, and like, you know, you just keep going. Like
I remember one time you told us, Jason, this might have been on Raul's set. I remember one time you told us, and it always stuck with me. Like, I don't know if somebody was complaining on set or somebody was like, "Oh man, like, oh, they're a jerk." Maybe it was me because I there's one particular individual from that set that was an asshole to everybody, not to us or me, but he was an asshole to everybody. I'm not gonna say who it was. It wasn't Raul. That's all I'll say. But he was in a kind of an asshole to the crew, and I was like, man, that's shitty. I hope nobody gets to experience that. And then Jason I think it was me, he made it clear to me, like, well, come on, man, get used to it. Like, you think you're gonna go to Hollywood and meet a bunch of nice people? Come on. Like, you're not. And I was like, fuck, that's true. Like, get used to the assholes that are on set, because unfortunately they do exist. And Jason's encountered his fair share of them, I'm sure. I've been spoiled, man. We have our own crew and we deal with our own people, and and we know not to be assholes to each other, right? So Jason's experience going to Albuquerque for gigs or going to Las Cruces or going around and being on professional gigs and encountering those assholes. So that always stuck with me. Like, yeah, dude, that guy is an asshole. You're right. You're not wrong. But just because you think he's an asshole, it's not going to change anything. Like, let the asshole be the asshole, and just do your job. So that was a big kind of note for me. That was, Jason has definitely been through that for sure.
Yeah. And then I try to be the nice asshole. Like,
yeah.
like
that's what we're gonna name this episode, Jason the Nice Asshole Carranza.
Yeah, like
I wipe my asshole.
And I'm tough, but I'm fair. Like,
yeah,
definitely.
Like, things got to get done, man. And sometimes you got to put your foot down. Like, I've had to do that with Jonathan. I've had to do that with Anthony Salgado. I've had to do that with even Ramon. Like, we're only here till a certain time. Like, that's it, man. I'm not giving you any more takes.
Yeah.
And I think he, like, as far as like, them and other people, they respect that because they're like, he's on it and he's trying to get the project done.
I know Ricky holds you in high regard for that reason, because when you were on set for You're in Trouble and you were our AD, and more importantly, you were Rick's AD, and Rick was a first-time director. And I remember him thinking, like, he constantly talked about, like, yo, Jason, we need to have Jason on set. Jason needs to be my AD for every one of my sets. And he was a first-time director, dude. He could have very easily been, like, intimidated, but he wasn't. He saw that you were fair. He saw that you were doing your job. And that's super important, man. And on that note, I think it's time for the word of the day, Delao.
Oh yeah, Jason, we're gonna test your IQ.
Before we get to that, real quick, something to ask. What's your favorite filmmaker or favorite movie? Let's go favorite movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of films you're into. Is it like the rom-com?
Favorite movie and director.
You know what's weird is that, like I said before, like, I didn't originally plan to be in film or be a filmmaker and whatnot. So I'm not necessarily a film buff. I mean, but I do like a lot of old, like, weird, like, for instance, obviously The Exorcist, but not only because of the gore or whatever, but the storytelling, the what they were able to accomplish with practical effects. Like, they didn't.
Do you believe it actually happened?
Oh, I mean, what do you think I am? So like The Exorcist, El Topo, like I like genre bend, like El Topo. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a kind of like a B film. It's a Western. It's psychedelic. It's like a very weird film. I like Midnight Cowboy. What else? Like very like 70s type movies that they relied more on storytelling than they did like the shock factor.
You strike me as a guy that likes films kind of like Easy Rider. Like that kind of storytelling motif where it's not super complicated and they're not trying to throw all the glitter at you. They're just trying to tell you a story in the most practical way. So
so I like storytelling. It doesn't really matter what the genre of film is, as long as like you're into it and you're into the characters and it's not cheesy. I mean, then again, there are films that are cheesy that are good, but for me, it's like it's like the character driven type of films.
Cool.
Right.
Interesting. Cool. Well, on that note, we'll segue
let's see
into
how
a
smart
trivia.
you are, Jason.
Oh man!
So for those of you who don't know, we like to do a word of the day segment to improve everybody's communication skills as filmmakers, as human beings, as I like to call it.
And just put the guest on the spot, I guess.
Yeah, just to put the guest on the spot for fun. I've been having. I was trying to come up with something. We came up with something. Do you know the definition of desultory?
Desultory.
Use it in a sentence.
Huh?
Can you use it in a sentence?
He said it's related to you.
I think people who meet you at first feel like you're a very desultory individual, but after getting to know you, they would think the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Right away.
Right away. Okay.
But it means that somebody likes Mountain Dew.
Man, that would have been a good one, though.
I think what it is, like they don't know what to expect from me, and then they realize
Maybe.
that I'm actually
I wear different color
secret.
shirts.
But you know, I don't know.
All
I'm
right.
trying to bullshit my way out of it.
You know what?
Not working.
You know what?
cut it in half.
I'll give that like a grade A because I mean I really thought you were gonna just pull this definition and sentence.
He was.
And then say it
Was
comes
trying
from
to.
the sultans and their desolate land. You know, I was really expecting something. Desolatory is something that is lacking a plan, purpose, or enthusiasm.
My life.
Yeah,
That's the first time.
So I am the definition of it.
yeah. I think a lot.
Desolatory is his middle name. Come on.
Yeah.
I look like a guy with a plan.
I think without the assistant director and without there being somebody there to kind of keep things in structure, every set will be, you know, in Desolatory, you know, every set will be without purpose, lacking a plan, and just it'll lose its drive without there being somebody to just kind of keep things in structure. So Jason, you are the opposite of Desolatory. You keep things in line. Now your personality, on the other hand, that's you know.
Yeah.
So
50-50.
onset is the opposite of desultory, but offset, he is the definition of desultory.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're a wild card. Dude.
Word of the day.
I am a wild card, man. I think I put that on my Zoom profile. It says wild card.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how I look at it, man.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
all need a
I'm
wild
just
card.
I'm just like that one guy that somehow miraculously makes things happen. I'm a wild card.
For sure.
I know this is late to be bringing it up, but there's a story that you brought up to me as far as like just how what is it called? How much you're willing to put out and actually do to get something accomplished. Like if somebody gives you a task, I remember you brought up the story of Ramon and how one night he called you asking for a prop and you got it done.
I
don't know if
I
you
was
would
just
be-
thinking about that.
Yeah.
What prop?
Yeah, okay. So on Juanado, which is Ramon's project, I was the AD on that. And he calls me, or no, he messaged me like around 1 or 2 in the morning. And he says, hey, I need ashes for tomorrow.
Ash.
And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, ashes? He's like, yeah, it's like to be like a cremated remains.
I'm already thinking.
And I'm like, okay. And mind you, we had a call time of like 7 or 8 in the morning. This was like 1 or 2 in the morning.
So you got 4 hours.
Yeah, so like my brain's like, okay, what do I do? So like, do I go outside, start a fire? Like, what do I do?
That's what I'm thinking, man.
Yeah, so then it clicks. I'm like, my grandparents have a chimney in their kitchen.
Okay, you started off that. All right.
Yeah, and they've hardly ever cleaned it out. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go over there and get that.
At
So-
1 in the morning.
1, 2 in the morning, I break into my grandparents' house. I'm in the kitchen with a mason jar and a spoon, right?
I was thinking Foster's or something. Man.
So I creep over there and I'm like,
Hold you.
like hoping they don't, and then you know get that done. Show up on set the next day. I'm like, hey, Ramon, here. It's like, what's this? I'm like, the ashes. And he's like, where'd you get this? I was like, my
Don't worry
grandma's.
about it. Oh.
And he's like,
Oh no!
He's like, I appreciate that, man.
yeah. So I don't know if he thought it was my grandma in the jar.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll return this. Don't worry.
But no, my grandma's well. She's alive and well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he was just like he didn't even.
He couldn't
They-
process how
Yeah.
anybody could
Like-
go from 1 in the morning, like, I need ashes, to here's ashes.
There you go.
I got it from my
I know.
grandma.
Yeah.
It had a little, like, cigarette butt in
Grandma.
it. It's like, oh, sorry about that.
Grandma loved Marlboro. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, and he's constantly throwing these curveballs at me, and I'm just like, and I appreciate it because he keeps me on my toes, like,
Damn.
and that's how you have to be. You have to be ready to, like, when you're on set, it's like, hey, actor canceled, or hey, can you act, or fuck it, I'm doing it. You know, like,
Yeah.
I'll act, and and you just got to be resourceful. You got to be well-rounded. You got to be on your toes. Like, you just have to constantly, it's like future planning. Like, if this happens, I already know what I'm going to do.
Just
And,
thinking.
Love it, man. So
Yeah.
do you have any departing words for filmmakers listening out there, Jason, be it, above the line or below the line individuals who are in the film industry or want to become filmmakers? Like, do you have anything you want to say to them?
Freelancing and everything, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you can only use
It's-
3 words in your sentence, so make it good.
These
2
curveballs.
sentences.
We're kidding. We're
Under-
kidding. Just,
Nah, we're kidding, man.
I'm like under, over, C-stand, humble.
Humble.
Dude.
It's amazing.
But no, yeah, just like don't go on a set trying to be the director or the producer, unless it's your own set or your
Right.
friends. Like, when a Hollywood set comes through town, you're gonna be a PA or you're gonna be a grip. Like, that's pretty much what you're gonna be doing on an out of town set. So that's why I was telling Michael, and I tell students, learn how to wrap cables, learn your way around the C-stand.
I learned.
At least know what the equipment is called, and then the rest you just figure it out. Like, a lot of it's hands-on. You're not going to learn it in a book. You're not, you can watch YouTube videos, but until your hands are on a C-stand, you'll understand what's going on.
yeah.
And like I said, you don't even have to be the greatest filmmaker in the world or be like I personally, like, if you told me, hey, set this camera up, I'd be like, yo, Delo, where you at? Because I don't know how to do this. But I at least know the basics. Like, this is the tripod, this is the camera, this is how you turn it on. But I at least know a little bit. And same thing with any spot on set. Like, at least know the basics. You're gonna fail. I failed a lot, and but you learn from it, and you can't give up. Because, like, if I would have given up, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now.
Exactly.
If I would have given up, like, my name wouldn't be on different projects, because I'd probably be doing something completely different.
Isaac. Man of talent. _ Jason. I don't know.
I mean, they're both, Isaac sounds kind of like a plumber's name, so that's why I go back.
Yeah, you don't like Isaac, huh?
Dude, I mean, it's my name. Like, I won't correct you if you call me Isaac.
I'm the same way with John. I don't like John. Call me Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like, it's my name. So
My name's Austin Young, as seen by my...
Austin. Yeah.
There any projects you want to promote, Jason? Anything that might be coming up that you've been a part of that you want to let people know about?
Anything you got your hands on?
I've got a few. I've got Jonathan's project, En tus brazos esta noche.
And
I don't know when we're planning on releasing that. Then there's Cut the Tech with Anthony Saldado.
We had Anthony last week, or I don't know when this episode's going to drop. I think it's going to drop after Anthony's. So, yeah, we had Anthony on, and he told us about that. So, that's a very cool project.
Awesome.
Shout out to Anthony. Yeah.
Disrupted Borders, which is the documentary that we were able to
Oh, man,
That
we
one
didn't talk
sounds
about that.
interesting.
That's a really
Yeah.
impressive project that I just want to mention. I know we can't take too long. We're almost at time. But, but this project, really cool project, really cool documentary that was actually a part of Tribeca Film Festival. So a very awesome thing. I don't know if you want to just touch on that a little bit, Jason. That's an impressive project.
Yeah. Long story short, we met these amazing individuals, Wendy and Shelly, and we were able to take their story, and we were a 3-person crew. Ramon, once again, he threw a curveball at me, and he's like, yo, I need you to shoot a documentary. And I was like, okay, cool, when? He's like, tomorrow. And I was like, tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, I need you to pick up your crew, and you're going to go shoot a documentary. I was like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to say no to Ramon. I'm like, I'm going to do the best to my abilities and try to do this. And we got a lot done in one day, but we needed a second day because it just was not, we needed more stuff. So we got 2 days to shoot, shot it on a 60D Canon. We had a sound guy, and shout out to Alejandra Aragon. She's an amazing artist from Juarez. She's an amazing filmmaker. And I learned a lot from her as well.
Oh.
And so we our story here from El Paso, like, we have an Instagram, it's Disrupted Borders. I think that's what it's under.
Instagram.
And we got chosen to pitch our idea in Louisiana at the Tribeca.
What?
Yeah, film festival. And so they picked us up, and they've been helping us, and they've been,
Sweet.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy to, you're like me. I was asked to do a job. I did the job, and it's just blown up.
To that.
Like, wow. Like,
One of those swings about to hit something, man. Just gotta keep swinging.
Hopefully, man, because I'm getting tired of ramen, bro.
Hey, now you got ramen and Mountain Dew, so just...
Dude, I'm a king now.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got an unmarked van, dude. Have you ever needed, dude? An unmarked van.
Awesome. Yeah.
Are there windows on it or?
No, man.
Awesome. No, we're really happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you
man.
for being on. It was great talking to you.
man.
We
Yeah,
gotta have you on
awesome.
another episode, though, eh?
Yeah, we're gonna bring you back. I know. When we get this project off the ground with Tower. Once all this COVID business is done, we're definitely gonna have you back on because you're gonna be a part of that project. So, for sure.
Awesome.
Hope you had fun for your first podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Like I feel like am I like the Howard Stern type of kind of like?
I feel you.
A little bit.
But yeah, definitely. I had fun. Thank you for having me. It's great to talk with. Like, I haven't seen you guys in a long time, and it's
For sure.
I haven't
guys.
seen
It's been
me
pretty
either.
nice, actually.
a little and real quick. I was a little hesitant about doing this podcast, not because I didn't want to, but because there's a lot of, current events going on, and I
Sure.
just felt that it would take away from that, and I don't want that to be that. What I wanted to, I agreed to do it because I felt we all need to come up for air, and we all need to
Right.
we need to take a break from what's going on. And believe me, I've been in it. I've been reading.
Me too.
and I just want us talking right now just to kind of be like a little like safe
A
haven.
breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air
just,
for people.
just come out, hang out, have a beer, have some snacks, and just
shit.
like think about something else. Not
Yeah.
that it's not important, but just come
No,
out
yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I
Spot.
think we definitely don't want to take away from the just the craziness that's going on right now. It's a very important topic, and it needs to be paid attention to, and it needs to be focused on. But like you say, it's overwhelming. We're living in a really crazy time, and that's a fact, and that doesn't need to be ignored. And we all agree that there are injustices that are going on in the world, but we also are human beings who get overwhelmed and need a break and need to just talk to friends about the stuff we love. So thank you for doing that, man. Thank you for using us as an outlet to just kind of hang out and have some breath of fresh air. So.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, Mr. DeLao, if you have anything else or you want to take us out, sir.
No, I think we're going to take us out. Jason, thank you again for joining us on episode 4 of the TowerCast podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us again. I don't have Juan's outro script, so I'm just going to say that filmmakers unite. No, that's crappy. Wait, let me come.
You were there. That's good.
Take two. Let's get it again.
Take two. No, thank you for joining us once again. We hope you grow as filmmakers. We hope you learn that the right attitude on set will make the best day on set. And
nice.
that every day's amazing. Yeah, sure.
And that's how the cookie crumbles.
That's how the
Fantastic.
cookie crumbles.
The TowerCast. Thank you, Jason. Man.
Thank you,
Power
Jason. Woo.
And going out with my catchphrase, toodaloo. Bye-bye. There we go.